Cindy in Euclid, Ohio. Hey, Cindy, what's up?
Hi, Tom.
Hey.
I wonder, do you recall the jobs bill a ways back, about 3 years ago, where the included a great deal of infrastructure repair, and the Republicans defeated that?
It did, including the Northeast Corridor, if my recollection is correct. Nancy Pelosi got that passed through the House of Representatives. It had more than 50 votes in the Senate, so according to the Constitution, it should have become law. But the Republicans, you're right, filibustered it. We don't need no stinking infrastructure in this country. Government is evil.
Do you remember when King George I said that he wanted to see the roads privatized?
Right.
My girlfriend was going out with a lobbyist, unfortunately, who was with that the Fast Pass system where you can just go through and it automatically reads your car. And apparently that's what they'd like to see. So it makes sense in their evil way that they would want to see all the roads crumble and the bridges crumble, because then they can come in and privatize them, bill everyone on every road they drive, and somebody's making a heap of money. Right.
The debate that we... I'm sorry, Cindy. You were going to say?
I said that's probably basically the reason why they're defeating these.
Yeah, well, I think it goes beyond that. And Cindy, thank you for the call. There's a conversation that we need to have in this country that we haven't had since the time of Eisenhower. And that is, what is the appropriate role of government? Where do the commons end and the private spaces begin? Historically, and I mean, back to the George Washington administration, the consensus in the United States has been that the appropriate role of government is the commons. Government is created to protect the commons. The commons being basically two things. Those things that we all collectively use, parks, bridges, roads, the military, police departments, fire departments. These are our schools. These are part of our commons. And in every other developed country in the world, the hospitals and medical system is part of the commons. And then what is private? I don't want the government making my clothes. I don't want the government making my car. So where does, for example, Amtrak come into this? Well, I would argue, the other point about commons is that the other commons are things that are what are called natural monopolies. You can only have one electric line coming into your house. It's a monopoly. You can only have one phone line coming into your house. It's a monopoly. You can only have one cable line coming into your house. It's a monopoly. So what other countries have done is they have said, let multiple, either make these public utilities. Half of the electricity in the United States is generated by utilities that are actually owned by the communities that are using the electricity. And they tend to be less expensive than for-profit utilities and more responsive to their customers' needs. You have for-profit utilities in Hawaii right now that are fighting. Hawaii has the most, 14% of the Hawaiian Islands. People are using solar power now. It's the most solar power in the country. And their for-profit utilities are hitting them with fines and trying to stop them and even trying to pass legislation blocking this. ALEC, the American Legislative Exchange Council, the Koch brothers' little thing that, where they get Republican legislators and lobbyists together in the same room twice a year. The lobbyists write legislation. The Republican state legislators take it back to their states. They've got model legislation, if my memory serves me right, that says that makes it more difficult to solarize your house, essentially, or even bans it in some places. I mean, what are the commons? Countries historically have dealt with those kind of commons, these natural monopolies, in one of two ways. Either demand that they be competitive. In most countries, for example, or in most developed countries, like the reason why in France you can get high-speed internet plus cable TV plus cell phone for $34 a month, and the high-speed internet is 10 times faster than ours. $34 a month for all three. The reason why is because even though every house has a single cable coming into it, any company can pump their signal over that cable. Even though there are private companies that own most of them, those private companies have to let other people, basically provide their services through their wires. They lease them. They make a profit on it. They just don't make an obscene profit on it. But here in the United States, these companies want to make an obscene profit. So one way to deal with the natural monopolies part of the commons is to enforce competition. Government sets the rules for essentially it's like a football game. Commerce is a game. What are the rules of the game? Or the second way is the government simply does it, as in South Korea, for example, which has the highest speed broadband in the world. Now, I'm frankly more fond of the first than the second. With things like that, I'd rather see competition using the private sector that is created by government regulation. When these monopolists, when these billionaires talk about the evils of government regulation, what they're really saying is they want to hold on to their monopolies. They don't want to be forced to compete with the little guy. In fact, they don't want any little guys. Before Reagan stopped enforcing the Sherman Act, all across America, there was little guys. Every mall, every downtown, family-owned businesses. They are all gone because of Reaganism.
You're listening to Thom Hartmann.